Hi, welcome to the world premiere video of the Two Wheel Boomer channel. My name is Tom. I'd like to start my channel off by telling a story of a really awesome ride and a super scare I had in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. I'm going to save the ask for the like and subscribe until I give you a little bit more than an intro, but I will get back to it. So this fall, I took part in the 9/11 Memorial Ride, the Run for Richie, and in all things considered, I thought that this was the best story I could tell to start off my channel.
Hey, I don't usually do this, but I'm not raising money today, but I am going down to Manhattan for a Run for Richie 9/11 kind of memorial motorcycle parade. Richie, I don't know, maybe he's going there too. Richie was the youngest first responder to die 9/11. He was 18 years old. So I'm heading down to Flushing. He was in a unit with some folks from Flushing. And then we're going to ride through Manhattan, see some, go to the memorial. And the bucket list is the Brooklyn Bridge. And we're going to end at a motorcycle shop, an Indian shop over in Brooklyn. And that's what I'm heading out to do this morning. So I'll post occasionally, just if you want to see what's up. I've never been to something big like this. So it's a first, and I'm looking forward to it. A little apprehensive, but looking forward to it. I did check my air, my tires, and of course I stopped to get gas, so here we go.
Yes, I know Indian Larry is not a motorcycle dealership. It's not an Indian dealership. I understand that very well now. But I didn't at the time, full disclosure. David Letterman called Indian Larry the world's greatest motorcycle guru. He was iconic, a builder, a rider, a stuntman, an actor. He did just about everything. I suggest you go look him up. If you're in the motorcycle world, it's a good idea to know who Indian Larry is. I found out the hard way. I've left a link to Indian Larry's David Letterman performance in the description, so you can check that out. The 9/11 Memorial Ride, the Run for Richie, is sponsored by the New York City chapter of the Punishers Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. They sponsor the ride. They don't sponsor the video, but I thought it was important that I recognize them for sponsoring the ride, but also the greater mission they pursue, which is to help first responders and their families. And as a motorcycle rider, I think that's a mission to which all motorcycle riders can relate. The 9/11 Memorial Ride in New York City grew out of the original 9/11 ride, which ran from 2002 to 2013. It was an event that ran from Pennsylvania through Washington, D.C. and ended in New York City. Eventually, the traffic in D.C. got too much to manage, and folks needed to stop the ride. Okay, so who is Richie? As I mentioned on the little clip in the gas station, Richie Perlman was the youngest first responder victim at 9/11. At 18, he was a paramedic for the Forest Hills Volunteer Ambulance Corps, a unit he had been with since he was 14 years old. He has originally volunteered for them as a dispatcher. Now, he was working for a law firm on 9/11, and he happened to be at One Police Plaza at the time the first plane hit. His law firm got in touch with him and said, "Hey, buddy, you got to get back." But Richie, being, he was a paramedic at this point, he decided no, and he and Morris Smith took off downtown towards the towers. A image was printed in Newsweek of Richie helping a woman who had been severely injured prior to the collapse of the towers. Ultimately, nobody knows exactly what happened to Richie, but he was found, his remains were found 6 months later, among other first responders. So the ride starts at Corona Park in Forest Hills, Queens. And for me, that's an hour-and-a-half ride down 95. That ride alone was not without its dull moments, and perhaps that was a harbinger of things to come. Initially, I must have put a wrong address in the GPS because I ended up at some other park. I wasn't alone. There were 3 other folks with me, but eventually somebody came and brought us to Corona Park, which was where we needed to go, about 10 or 15 minutes away.
How we doing? Made it? 95. It's a lousy road to ride. Too many bumps, too many cars. A lot going on here, as you can see. And the GPS gave me a wrong place to go, and a bunch of folks saved my bacon. I was literally 20 minutes away. But here we are, ready to go. And I met a guy from Laconia from 2 years ago. Pretty cool stuff. I'll check in later. Adios.
Now, if you choose to go to the ride in September, try to get there as early as possible. I got there well over an hour early. And it's a pretty cool time. I just went up and down the line, inquiring about bikes, asking people about their bikes, like a kid in a candy store, getting to know a lot of people that you've never met before, and meeting dudes you haven't seen in 2 years in Laconia, which, Eric, if you are watching, hit the like and subscribe button. I think it's about time I ask. Maybe it's okay. They say nobody ever watches first videos, but who knows? Maybe we can make an exception this time. Like as in most prior rides I've done, there's a blessing before the ride begins and a prayer for safety, and off we go. Now the ride takes off and we meander around and we stop to get ready to drive past the site of the old World's Fair in 1964. We ride past the Unisphere, the big globe thing there that you often see in images. It makes for good video and hopefully a pretty eye-catching thumbnail. Then it's on to the 495 and you get to go for a little while, which is pretty good because for the bulk of the ride, it's clutch, brake, throttle, clutch, brake, throttle, which for me was not good. Only a few weeks earlier, my bike and my clutch had gotten so far out of adjustment that it left me stranded an hour from home. I got it back in order and it was seemingly working fine, but it was still in the back of my mind. So you leave the 495 and you enter the Queens Midtown Tunnel. And if you go, have earphones because everybody wants to rev bomb in the tunnel. But it's not just that. The police fly by you with their sirens going like crazy. It is loud. But at the end of the day, you know, it's part of the gig. So you exit the Queens Midtown Tunnel, and you head into Midtown. At this point, it gets really exciting. We have to slow up and stop to get everybody in order because the line is super long going into Midtown, and then we're just about to go, and nothing. Nothing. I could not get my bike into gear. I was sitting there, I took a deep breath as the bikes behind me had lost their patience and started moving past me with great earnest. Even the ambulance passed me by. The ambulance passed me by. Well, eventually I was able to get the bike into gear, get myself back in line, and proceed with the ride. But again, that's going to make me nervous pretty much the rest of the ride. I was worried it would happen again. It didn't, and the ride proceeded down towards ground zero. And well before that, my GoPro batteries died. But unlike a lot of people I see online, I'm not going to bash GoPro over it. My GoPros are a 5 and an 8, and quite honestly, that's a subject for another video. But this year, I'll have an Insta360 with me, and so when you watch next year's video, it should be a bit more entertaining than this one. But I did get to Indian Larry's, and I was happy to have gotten there.
Might as well have the Freedom Tower behind me when I make this little update. So I got to Brooklyn. This is just a small sample of the bikes that are around. I'm going to head around that corner over there and take a look at what's going on. There's a gazillion bikes.
I did stick around for about an hour or so, but I didn't make that last stop that I intended to make. But that's the subject of a future video for sure. My ride home was a unique adventure too. I put in a no highways route, took me over the Ed Koch Memorial Bridge. This is the New York my adventure rider friends plan to avoid. I spent my entire time worried about getting clipped or worried about my clutch screwing the pooch again. Not pleasant. But I made it, headed through Upper East Side, through Harlem, down the Grand Concourse by Yankee Stadium, which was pretty cool. And I made one last post that day.
Well, it's 6:30 or whatever time it is, and I'm just on the way home. Scooting off. I took a no highways route on the way home, but it still took me on the Sawmill Parkway. Is that it? Anyway, got about 45 minutes to go. Later.
When I finally got home, I told my wife that this was probably a bucket list thing, that I would not probably do it again. But now that I've been removed from it and can see from a distance what it is and what it means and really how it made me feel, ultimately, that's what matters most. You'll see me there for as long as I can get there. I'll be at the 9/11 Memorial Ride, the Run for Richie. So, if you enjoyed my first video and you're still here, please hit the like and subscribe button. That'd be awesome. And hey, if you're anywhere near New York next September, come to the 9/11 Memorial Ride, the Run for Richie, and say hi. Until next time, peace.